Hi, I'm Greg Gordon with Pyramind, and today I want to show you some creative workflow techniques that I like to use when remixing vocals with Ableton Live's Push 2. As an added bonus, I'm also going to give you access to the vocal chain that I've created for the lead vocals on this track, all using Ableton plugins. So to demonstrate this, I'm using a song that I produced a handful of years ago that I'm now remixing. It's a song called Soul Potion with the vocalist Ilana Solari. So here on the screen, you can see the top track here is the original lead vocal. And what I've done is cut out a handful of sections from that vocal on the track directly below it called Original Edit. Here it is. So this is the original vocal track. Here's the original edit. So these are samples that I'm going to use in the remix. Really important to note that the original vocal track was warped. Really important to warp it first from the original tempo so that it carries the warp data across, because we're going to export this into the simpler and then convert it to a drum rack. Okay, so here's all the warping. You can see that here. Here are all the edits. And then what I did was I took these edits and consolidated them down onto this third track here, and I did it all on the grid so that they all lined up on the bar line. Now you're going to see why that helps a lot in just a moment here. So I'm highlighting the edit 2 bar track here. You can see the edits that I want to export to the simpler now. So I'm going to go to the push. It's selected on the push here, and I'm going to hit convert. I'm now going to hit the simpler selection here. It's going to take a second, and it will now convert it to a simpler, and there we go. So there's the 2 bar edits that I created here, and we've got the start time of the file and the end time. So the end time's all the way at the end, which is good. And I'm going to zoom the start time up just a little bit to get close. I'm going to zoom in to make sure it's nice and tight on the start here. There we go. Zoom out a little bit. Now I want to go into slicing mode. So I'm going to cut it into slicing mode. Here you can see the slices appear on the screen. But right now it's sampling or slicing by transient. So I want to slice actually not by transient, but by beat. And I'm going to do that in 2 bar divisions. Notice all the divisions you can select here. From 8th note all the way up to 4 bars. But I'm going to select 2 bars. And this is really just depends on how long you feel the phrases are. So you can manipulate this to work for you, whatever's going to work best for the track and what you feel the length of the samples are. In this case, 2 bars is about right for me. So you can see I've zoomed up here to the beginning. Note the start here. If we zoom in again, you can see I'm pretty tight on that first sample here. So we can just play that directly here. There it is. So zooming back out again, you can see it's playing directly to the end of that selection of that slice, what it's considering a 2 bar slice here. So what I want to do now is select the next sample or the next slice in my simpler, and I'm going to use the nudge key now to nudge the front end of that. So it's important to note that start and end only works for the start and end of your entire selected body of samples that you're slicing. Once you get into trying to individuate those on the different pads, you have to move to the nudge key. So here on the third one, I'm going to nudge that one out, and it will happen then that you get little bits of silence in between here, right? So once you get some silence in between those like that, what I'm going to do is delete those by hitting the delete key and then hitting that pad, and then you see it deleted slice 3. So now I'm going 1, 2, 3. And now I'm going to go to 4. I'm going to nudge that one up, so forth and so on, so that I get each of these on their own pad. So each phrase now is going to be on its own pad by doing this. I'm going to leave a little tail on these guys because as you notice, you can hear it on the vocal there. There's a little vocal processing with a little bit of reverb and delay, so I don't want to be chopping those off. Now once I've done that for the course of all of these different slices, I want to now re-export this. I'm going to convert it again to a drum rack. Okay, so now I've already done that here, and you can see now, here's my new set of slices, but now they've been converted to a drum rack. Now why is it so important to be able to get them into a drum rack? Several really key reasons. The drum rack, first of all, gives you maximum flexibility for being able to change the gain. So you'll notice here there's gain control. Let's go back to this one here. So I can adjust the gain of each of these samples. So the other thing that's really cool here, at this point, you can decide whether you want these to be in classic mode, which is a gated effect on these samples. Notice. So when I release the pad, it releases playback, as opposed to one shot where I hit the whole sample, release the pad, and it plays it all the way through. And these have different ways of responding when you're in musical context. So it's fun to be able to play around with this and see how it affects the remix itself. Now, one of the other really cool things you can do once you're in the drum rack, of course, is you can transpose any one of these samples. It's a lot of fun to play around with transposition of vocal samples. And you can now copy these around to other pads and have different tunings for the different vocals. When you're in this view here, you can go from 16 velocity drum pad mode to 64 pads, where the entire display represents your drum pad selection. So you could easily copy any one sample from one pad to another. Okay, and this is done by holding the duplicate key down. There it says pad drink me, copied, and then pasting it to another pad. One of the other things I really like to do is be able to add different effects chains to different samples. And in the drum rack, that's really easy to do, and it's really easy to do on the push. You simply select the sample that you want. Here it is, you can see it's selected right there. And then I'm gonna say, add a device. And I'm going to scroll through and I'm going to go to my audio effects here. And in this case, I want to add a delay, for example, to this particular sample. So let's go ahead and scroll through our selection here. And I'm going to make this a filter delay. And I'm going to use the complex 5 setting. I like this one a lot. And then I'm going to go ahead and say load. Now it's going to load this delay only on this one sample. Right? My other samples, still clean, aside from the original processing. Now this one has this nice filter delay effect on it. And it's really easy also then to select the filter delay now, and I can change any one of the parameters on that. Of course, these are all automatable too. A lot of fun to play with this kind of stuff. Frequency-based automation, delay modes, delay times, feedback rate, all of the parameters that are automatable. Now, if you're like me, sometimes it's hard to remember what samples are on what pad. So one of the other things I like to do, if you'll notice here, there's some color coding going on. So what I'll do is I'll hold the shift key down and you hit the pad and voila, here comes the color wheel. So we get to now independently color code each of these pads. In this case, I made it red. So here you go. The two main drink me's that I want to use here are in red. Soul and potion are going to be in green. The other part of the hook, sweet. And then the response phrase is going to be in blue. And you can really, go to town with your color coding. It's really up to you how you want to do it, what's going to jar your memory best. The other thing, of course, you can do if you really can't remember stuff like me is go back into the actual sampler on the screen, and you'll notice I just actually named these samples. So down here, I hit Command R and I type in Drink Me. There you go. Or the sung one here. So I call it Sweet Sung, right? So anything that's going to help jar your memory and help you remember how you may want to play these and in what order you might want to do that can be really helpful. So yeah, I'm just going to have a little fun with this to close out and kind of show you how I would go about recording something like this. So let's just have a little fun with that. There you go. So all kinds of fun can be had with this. And of course, after the fact, you can record in automation for transposing or any of the effect parameters. So I hope this was helpful for you and you enjoyed it. Have fun remixing vocals with the Push 2.
If you're a music producer, subscribe to our channel and stay up to date on the latest Pyramind tutorial videos, track breakdowns, elite sessions, and more. Visit us at pyramind.com.